So, what exactly was the thought process behind Somewhere in Ohio?
Um, the thought process behind that, well, with the album, it was just I had just done the project Anywhere the year before. Actually, I was working on Summer in Ohio before, and I made Anywhere because I was doing Summer in Ohio. So it was like I knew that Summer in Ohio wasn't going to be done. I wanted to put more time into it, so I made the EP. So Summer in Ohio, it'd been like at least a year and a half of me making it, but the thought process was just I wanted to make an album that felt super real to where I felt like I was at personally in life, and like the hunger and the inspiration that I had, and then feeling like there were heights I wanted to reach that I felt like I was really far from. So I wanted to make something that was like it felt like anybody could hear it and be inspired by it and understand the perspective. And that was one of the things like I'm super proud of is how much people relate to it. So yeah, it was just about making something that people could feel when it comes to trying to achieve something.
Yeah. And I definitely feel as if that's really important. Um, Being relatable, but also making sure that you are doing something that actually feels right to you. Because I feel like nowadays it's so easy to tell when an artist isn't really in it,
Yeah,
And I feel like with Somewhere in Ohio, I really did feel inspired by it
that's fine.
because I feel as if, as a creative, even though I'm not a musician, but you being able to put that together and then also bring other people from the same community, also putting it in the effort with that. I'm like,
Yeah,
I could do that as well.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I definitely feel like your intentions, you you did what you wanted to do. You did what you intended to do with that,
thank you.
which was really nice.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what was it like getting everyone to come onto the album? What was that like for you? And what was the reactions to it?
Yeah. Well, the reactions like when I because one of my things was I would some people I sent stuff to, some people I would just link up with them and just play them the music, get their live reactions and film them and stuff like that. And the reactions really made me happy. It really inspired me. It really made me feel like I was going down the right path. Because like I feel like every time I played the album for somebody, they just lost their mind.
Mm,
And like and one of the big things to me, I feel like a lot of the music I had made before, like I would definitely put myself in the songs, but it didn't feel maybe as personal or like
mm,
as like intentional, I should say.
mm.
So I love that when I would play music for people, everybody like immediately understood what I was trying to go for. They felt it and like it connected. So I was super proud of that. But as far as like getting people involved, that was it was kind of a long process just because it was so many people.
Yeah.
But I feel like because it was so many people that were like within reach, like I wasn't like going to people I just never talked to before. Like I think literally everybody on the album I work with in some capacity. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So it was really like a communal sort of experience. Like I was reaching out to people that I had existing relationships with, and I would just listen to songs and think about like who do I hear in this moment? Because
Mm,
like even beyond like the features on the album, there's a bunch of little things where like somebody might have played guitar or violin or keys or bass or electric guitar, or somebody might just had like one word or like all these different little things. So I was just thinking about like what do I feel is missing from the song? Like that's probably my biggest thing as I approach songs like what's missing, and I try to approach everything from that. And if I'm not able to approach it that way, like I want people around me to ask that question.
mm,
So that was the biggest thing was like thinking about what needs to be there and then thinking about who can fill that need.
yeah. So, you feeling as if you said that you approach things in a way of like what is exactly missing with this album because it's such a really cohesive album,
Thank you.
but what was the hardest part about it? I know that you mixed and produced it yourself, which
Yeah.
is really an amazing process, but even within that, first of all, let's backtrack. How did you even get started within that? How were you able to
Yeah.
even do that? Because I don't know a lot of people who are able to do that within their own music.
Yeah. Well, I started first. I started like rapping and like writing ideas, um, and like writing ideas for like sketches and screenplays and stuff, and then writing raps and stuff. Um, when I was like probably like 11, 12 years old. And I started making beats probably when I was about 13, 14. But it was
Mm,
just, I feel like it was just like a natural like creative thing is like I just would love to see what it's like to create a beat. So I just started doing that with like friends and as a
Mm,
kid, and it was something I never stopped doing.
yeah.
When I was younger, like it was definitely a period where I just wasn't even rapping on my own beats, but I just felt the urge to make beats and try to get
Yeah.
better.
And that followed you.
Yeah, just follow me, and luckily, like it became super important because now, like almost everything you'll hear me on is something I produced
Yeah.
and something I mixed. So it's like it started from young for sure, and it became my process to where when I start making a song, I start with the beat. And like
Mm,
I don't even sit down to make beats anymore. I just sit down to make songs, and like the beats that don't get turned into songs is beats I can give to other people and stuff like that. But it became like a super symbiotic process where everything is all at once. But as far as like the hardest thing, I would say mastering the album because this is my first time mastering a project. So like I was trying to get to like a professional sounding level where like I felt like everything knocked the way I wanted to knock, but at the same time like I wasn't losing anything or
yeah.
the loudness and stuff. Like when people talk about the loudness wars of mastering, where hip hop got super loud and super blasted out,
Yeah.
and I wanted to make sure that like there was a clarity to the music, but I didn't have any formal training. I didn't have formal training for really anything,
Yeah.
so it was like definitely an uphill battle, and that was the hardest thing. But it was the most rewarding thing to say like everything started and ended with me, and this is my first project where like because before it was being mastered by other friends of mine and stuff like that. But it was the first time where I could say I really did every single part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I really love that you wanting to have you wanting to your music to have clarity, to
yeah,
bring clarity with that. I really think it's important for musicians to create music that can be felt
yeah,
and to create something that is everlasting. Like
yeah,
when you hear a certain beat, you just already know what it is. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then on
yeah,
top of that is just making people feel something as well. I think that's really important.
for sure.
Yeah, and I also love that even with this album, even though you put the album out about a year ago, correct?
What would it be? That was November.
November. Oh,
Yeah,
a few months, well, months ago, almost
yeah, months ago,
not a year ago, but
like 9 months, like a baby ago,
yeah,
9 months
yeah,
ago.
a minute ago.
Yeah,
I really love that you are still building off of that.
for sure.
A lot of artists, I think, people don't know how to like let things simmer,
Yeah,
like to let it grow. And I think it's really important to not just put out a project and then move on to it.
yeah,
I feel like that's how you get classics when you just let things sit for a little bit.
facts,
You know what I mean?
facts.
So have you ever felt the need to just rush, especially with after this, especially getting so much traction from it as well?
Yeah, I feel like with this album, I didn't feel that, but it's probably because I have been through that. Because like a lot of artists, like they put out a project and they start teasing new music immediately after it,
Mm,
and it's because when you're working on a project, especially when you spend a lot of time with it, you hear it so much. Especially with me producing and mixing and mastering it, I've heard it more. Like I've heard my project 3 times more than the average artist would hear their project
mm,
because you're listening to it with different ears.
yeah.
So like I definitely understand why so many artists get like sick of their project, and that happened to me before. And I feel like for me to sort of avoid that, I had a project I put out in 2020 called Burgundy that I worked on for 4 years.
Oh wow.
So with this album, I knew like, okay, the music I do going forward, I'm not gonna have a super long, time span of making it to where by the time it comes out, it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
So like this was like I worked on it for about a year, year and a half, but like a lot of the core songs were made later into the process to where it felt super fresh. And I didn't listen to it as much. That's like low key some my advice to artists is like don't unless you're listening to it to like vet it, don't listen to it recreationally.
Really?
Yeah. Like listen to it to critique it, but don't listen to it to enjoy it. I feel like because
There's a thin line, I feel like. At least,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like if you listen to it to enjoy it too much, by the time it comes out, it might not hit the same because
Mm.
you're already working on new stuff.
Yeah, you might be in a different place in your
Yeah.
life.
With this,
Yeah.
every time I heard it, I was just like, what can I change?
Mm.
And like, cause if I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't be working on it. I would have ditched the song. So it's like, I don't need to just enjoy the song. I need to focus on making sure the song is right. And then now that it came out, I can play the album and like, I'm happy with everything because I was so focused on getting it right as
Mm.
opposed to just like having a victory lap every time I play it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And listening to it with different ears, outside of yourself, do you ever go outside of yourself to ask for feedback, like from your
for
friends, from your
sure.
community?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. with my manager Andrea, my girlfriend Erica, with my group Starlight, like which is like really like some of my closest friends in music, and like just different people. I just and like the artists I collaborate with, like and
Mm.
some artists that even aren't even on the music, but like just artists whose ears I trust. I'll just send it to them like, hey, what do you think? Different people. Um, and my thing too is like I feel like with artists, like you naturally want to be like super nice when you give your feedback, but like I have tough skin. Like I'm not gonna be super upset if you
Yeah.
say you don't like something.
Yeah.
I want to know what's not working about it because I'm listening with the same ear. Like what can be fixed or is it not fixable?
Mm.
So and of course everything's not for everybody, but I'm definitely
Yeah.
like trying to hear like what does everybody feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything obviously is a group effort, like you said, collaborating with other artists and having a community based around that. So, what is something that you were able to learn from the artists that you were working with?
Hmm. Let's see. 'Cause I feel like I've learned a lot of stuff for
Yeah.
sure. So maybe just thinking about the album, like with Kip Stone, I feel like I learned just from listening to him and working with him. Like he just put out an album out yesterday too, by the way. But
Mm.
he's super vulnerable while being like super lyrical.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't waste any lines. Like he's not trying to be super flashy in the verse. He's just really impressive at rapping.
Yeah.
But like everything he's saying is super important and super real, and you're gonna leave the song feeling like this is somebody who's like really dope at rapping, but they weren't rapping about how good they can rap. They're rapping about their life,
Yeah.
and like I feel like I definitely listening to him and learning from him and talking to him. Actually, not thinking about it, he was the person who like set off the whole album. Like
Really?
I went to a show where Nuke was performing
Okay.
at Nada's class, and I was talking to Kip, and I was kind of in like a writer's block situation, and he was giving me like different books to read and like different perspectives, and just talking about writing and stuff like that,
Mm.
and like just thinking about it, and he got the gears working to where I started thinking about stuff, and I had the song "Summer in Ohio," but I didn't know where to take it. That was the only song I
Mm.
had, so I sent him that song, and he was really like into that song, like he really loved it, and just being inspired by what he said, I started writing, and I wrote like 100 bars literally for a song that's not even on the album, but it just got everything going
Yeah.
to where I could start making the rest of the songs. So
Yeah.
he definitely inspired that, and like everybody else inspired. Like AM the Queen, who's on the outro,
Yeah.
and she inspired me with thinking about harmonies and West Will as well in that way. Um, Sango inspired me when it came to like the production, when it, as far as like trying to find like the weirder sounds, because like he's a super like experimental but super in the pocket at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like he's got a lot of different bags, so he definitely inspired me with that. Um, Banky inspired me when it came to flow. I feel like he has like he's got a lot of bags too as an artist. Like
Mm.
one of the best artists from Cleveland, and he's got like a certain looseness that he can have on the track, which I liked a lot. And Tay inspired. Tay is like one of my favorite artists ever.
Yeah.
Like so he's inspired me in a bunch of different ways, but he has that same vulnerability too. So
Yeah.
probably in that way as well. Yeah.
And I really love that. I think vulnerability is so important. For some reason, I feel like people are a little scared to
Yeah.
get within that
Yeah.
because I don't know what it is with, with the fear
Yeah.
of vulnerability, just like letting people see you. And we
Yeah.
were talking earlier just about like, you know, putting a face to the creation, you
Yeah.
know, like putting yourself out there and getting to know people and letting people see who you are just so they can get a better understanding of the work itself and like kind of find a more of an appreciation for it. I think
Right.
that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learning all these different techniques and things from these artists, I feel like shows up a lot in your album because I feel as if within each album, it kind of takes us within each song on the album, and then also just the sound, it takes us through a different journey, I think. You know, you have a little bit of you have you doing mostly rap and then you're singing a little bit.
Yeah.
You have more of like the flowy things and then, you know, the songs where you can get, you know, dance a little bit to
Yeah.
it. So I really think that's also nice to have within the album, just the dynamics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you experimenting with those sounds, was it hard for you to do that? Was it hard for you to kind of like, you know, have one stance and then kind of flow into the next?
Yeah. I think I'm trying to think about when I was making it. Like for me, I guess I don't really. I feel like I only make a song if it feels natural to me in
Yeah.
some way. So like in that way, like it feels kind of easy. But of course, like especially when I'm producing and I'm trying to like hit a different sound. Like I got a couple songs where I was trying to do like jungle R&B mix, and like I had to like do my research and like
Mm-mm.
jump into the sound and like try to learn things. But I feel like if it's like difficult, then I probably won't go into it as much
Yeah.
because it's like it just doesn't feel like it's for me.
You can always tell too,
Yeah,
and I think research is important. I feel like sometimes people think you have to be a master of all to do the work, but it's like no, you don't. You just have to learn. You actually have to
exactly.
practice. You have to do the research, and I think that when people do that, you can see it in their work. It shows up in their work that they're actually putting in the effort to make it better.
For
So I think
sure.
that's necessary, and I love that you're talking about that as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I think the saying is like the wise man knows nothing at all. Like
Yeah.
you gotta be open to getting information as opposed to feel like you already got it. So
Mhm.
like for me, that's why like going back to like getting feedback, like everything is like I just want to know what there is to know as opposed to feeling like I already know it.
Yeah.
And like I think that's what's so fun about diving into new sounds is like the idea that there's something that I haven't explored that I can like get some more information about and have fun with doing something different.
Yeah.
Because like I don't think it's a ton of like all my favorite albums, especially rap albums, are albums that jump into a bunch of different sounds.
Mhm.
Even if it's in like a certain tone, there's like different sounds within that tone. Like I like artists that are super versatile. Those are the people I looked up
Yeah.
to.
It's necessary
Yeah.
because you don't want every song to sound the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a
And
fan of that.
I think sometimes it could be I feel like it could be confusing to not understand why artists aren't when we like for example the Grammys or whatever. Somebody was I was talking to someone about why Doechii won best female rapper, and they
Yeah.
were just saying how Glorilla was kind of like better than her in a way, like or she should have won, but it's like Doechii, she had more of a dynamic within her album, all her songs didn't have a distinct sound, if that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
think that's important for artists to be able to have some type of duality, just so
Yeah.
people can see, like, oh, you're not afraid to take risks.
Exactly. I think like, and that's like a perfect point because like, I think in rap, like Glorilla is like a specialist,
Yeah,
and like
she has a regional
specialists,
sound
exactly like
too.
regionality and like specialists type of rappers are super important. Like, there's
Definitely.
a lot of value to it, but there's also a lot of value to people who are going to jump into different places,
Mm-hmm.
and like, so it's like I see the value in every type of artist, and
Definitely.
I feel like there may be a day that comes where I make a project that's like just one specific type of sound.
Yeah.
But like I'm just doing, what feels real to me, like what feels natural. And like I feel like some of the stories I'm telling and what I'm talking about, it feels realist to me if I go everywhere sonically because I'm trying to take you on a journey.
Yeah.
But if I'm trying to make a project that's like this is a specific feeling, like if I'm making an album that this is an album, that you're supposed to get ready to or you're supposed to be partying to, then maybe it'll just be one BPM the whole album, but right now I'm just making projects where it's a lot of different emotions.
Yeah.
So it's got to sound different.
Yeah. And also, I think we were talking about vulnerability. I think that's also vulnerable too, allowing people to see you work with different things in
Yeah,
different areas.
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just because you're trying something new and you don't really know what how people are going to react to it. You're
yeah,
not going to really know the feedback for it either.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the risk is the vulnerable aspect. Like
Yeah.
you don't know. Like it might sound terrible. It might sound crazy. My hope is just that if it doesn't sound that great, then I hopefully realize I should put it out. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's gonna be a risk for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was it like being in the studio just making these songs? Like, what was the energy like? What were you doing exactly?
Yeah. The energy was like with. It's funny because like I don't really have like a studio setup,
Okay.
so I just have like my desktop computer and this speaker. Or not my desktop computer, my laptop,
Yeah.
that speaker, um, and that's it. So it's like it's kind of informal.
Sorry, that was a big ass ant.
No, you're good.
So sorry, y'all. Okay,
You're good.
I'm back.
It's it's kind of informal, but like the vibe. What's funny is like because I don't have a studio, I feel like it makes it so I am the studio. So
Mm.
like when I'm making the song, like it's just the energy within me as opposed to the energy in the room. So like I'm feeling like when I feel like I'm making something that's like dope, I'm super excited about it. Like I'm talking to myself as I'm making the song. I'm thinking about all these different things. And then when I get in the car to do the car test, that's me in the studio still.
Yeah.
It's like the studio is like the vibe. Like it's like the um I don't know, like just being in a creative spirit
Mm.
where things are flowing is like that's what I feel like I'm in. And I definitely felt like this when making this album. I did have like a couple studio sessions too where I was working with other artists,
Yeah.
but like most of it was just me in my bedroom.
Mm.
Yeah,
So, is there like kind of a difference between? Well, obviously there is a difference, just the setup and also the equipment. But like, what would you say is the difference between you making a song within your own space versus a studio?
I think the reason why I don't work in the studio and like make songs from scratch in the studio is because when I'm being in a room allows you to have something and let it go because
Mm.
like you're not paying to be there. So like
Yeah.
if you're in the studio and you have an idea that you're working on and you get like halfway, you spend like a couple hours on the song. It's like actually I'm not feeling the song. It's like we just spent all this money. Do you want to restart from scratch and walk out without a finished song?
Mm.
So
Just
like
being able to have that freedom, kind of
yeah,
free will.
yeah. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I might start working on the song and maybe like 30 minutes into the process, like I'm not really feeling inspired. I can walk away. I'm not losing anything. I didn't waste anything. So like I like the freedom for sure of like
Yeah.
and then like, I like to come to the studio when it's time to work with other artists where the song is already there. You just want to bring another voice in, and you
Yeah.
feel like you're like, really getting something done, but you're not risking not getting something done.
Mm.
Because like I try to be super efficient in like everything I make, so
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like I'm wasting time.
No, definitely not. I completely understand that.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the title, Somewhere in
yeah.
Ohio. So, what do you think this album does for Ohio exactly?
Hmm.
How do you think this album will help enlighten Ohioans who are kind of in your same position,
Yeah,
but they don't really know where it's going to lead to?
for sure. And when you started the question, I thought you were going to ask something different, but I think it kind of the answer I was going to give to the other question that was an imaginary question kind of lends to what you're saying, which is the title. I realized this. I didn't think about it until I went back to an old script I had,
Yeah.
and I had the setting as like a title card as somewhere in Ohio. So
Mm,
basically, I was in a script for a previous project
yeah.
from 2020. I was trying to set the scene. So
Mm,
that kind of relates to what you're saying because I'd want to have a project that has this title because I feel like a lot of people are not saying Ohio like that, especially
yeah.
musicians. Like they might say their city, but like I wanted to say Ohio and put that in people's mind. Like just the idea that there's something happening somewhere in Ohio.
Yeah.
And, when you say Ohio, a lot of people will think of like, you know, a bunch of grass like this, farms,
Yeah. They don't
cornfields.
really know there's a lot to do here actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to give people like visually when you see Summer in Ohio and you see the album cover, you're thinking, okay, this is like
It could be
the open
anywhere in
field.
Ohio. Yeah.
Exactly. But then like you hear the music, you hear artists that are all these different genres from Ohio. You hear me doing these different sounds within Ohio. And like you see how much we have to offer, but you're constantly being reminded that this is happening somewhere in Ohio. Like we
Mhm.
have all this dope stuff happening. And I definitely wanted people to be aware of it. And I wanted to be one of those artists that, you see me and you see where I'm from and you think about where I'm from. And like I'm not hiding it at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important to not be so shameful about where you're from, especially just being from Ohio cuz like we said earlier, people really don't know there's a lot going on here in the
Yeah,
Midwest, but especially Ohio, especially Cleveland. There's so much. Cleveland is developing
for sure.
into something that I don't know. I'm like, okay, it's kind of surprising in
Yeah.
my opinion. But
Yeah.
there's just so many creatives here. There's just so many beautiful things happening. And I also just love that you had all Ohio based artists.
Yeah. All but one. I do have to say Lukey, he's from Philadelphia.
Okay,
But
okay,
yeah, almost everybody's from Ohio.
okay. Which I think is really nice though, still, because again, that community support,
Yeah,
being really communal, and then also just putting other Ohio artists on as well, I
for
think is
sure.
important. Um, as we talked about earlier too, just people like to create something within the cities and then they take it out of the city and
Yeah,
not being able to develop it here. And then we're like, oh, there's not much to do, there's not much going on. But I think it's just so important to, I don't know, just make things more so for your community, I feel
Yeah,
as if, just to help it develop in that way.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think like, and a lot of artists, like, I mean, when you think about a lot of artists that have come from here, like Bone Thugs or Cuddy or
Mhm.
MGK, like they've screamed Cleveland, and like a lot of people in Cleveland, and a lot of people in Cleveland, like connect to them even more because they let you know I'm from Cleveland,
Yeah.
and the people around the world got to know about Cleveland because of them. So like I think that's super important, it's super valuable, um, and I feel like I want to do the same thing. Like I want to let people know where I'm from, and like I feel like the sound I'm doing and like what I'm trying to do visually and what I'm trying to build towards is
Yeah.
like it's a specific thing. It's not. I don't know if it's going to be a thing that's owned by Cleveland, but it's something that Cleveland could be proud of. I'd hope.
Yeah.
You know.
You're giving Cleveland to you're giving a piece of Cleveland to a little bit everybody. I
Yeah.
feel like it's really an experience, I think, that you're creating.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really necessary.
Yeah. That's something I could be proud of. Like, because there's so many people that are from different places.
Mhm.
Um, that have heard the album and like told me like, oh man, I looked up Banky. I wasn't hip to Banky. Like somebody from like Nebraska or something,
Yeah.
and like, man, I didn't know y'all had all these dope artists in Cleveland. Because like, how would you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's I feel like it's important. And I mean, it's nobody's job, but it's like it's I think it's valuable for artists that are from their specific city to let people know what's going on in their city.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, cuz especially if you have a platform, why not use it in that way to
exactly.
uplift and to enlighten? So let's talk about the film Somewhere in Ohio. So was that was created after the album was already done, correct?
Yeah, the album was done like March, April of 2024, and we shot the first scene of the film. I want to say that was it might have been August.
Okay.
It might have been August, maybe July. So yeah, the album was done. The thing was like I didn't have a camera, so I
Mm.
didn't have like anything to film the short film with. But me and my girlfriend Erica, we had written it, and we had like the vision for it and what we wanted to do and like how we wanted it to feel. But I just didn't have like the stuff to make it.
Yeah.
So we basically we had gotten the Grog Shop date for August 23rd, and we knew that we wanted to do like an album, a thing where like it's somewhere in Ohio night. We play music from the album and we show the film,
Yeah.
and we had announced it before we had shot the film. So like we had like this funny thing where like people are looking forward to it, but we haven't made it yet, technically. So it was like a weird sort of countdown thing where we were working
Mm.
like down to the wire.
Anticipation.
Yeah,
But you were still working.
exactly. And it was like it was honestly kind of difficult because because I had never shot anything, or because I didn't have a camera. That was the first thing I ever shot, like as a
Really?
cinematographer. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I would have never knew. Honestly,
Thank
if
you.
I were you, I'd be like, yeah, I've been doing this for 5 years.
Thank you. Well, because like I had been like directing and editing my stuff, but I never had a camera. I didn't know the first thing about like lenses
Yeah.
and anything to do with cinematography. So yeah, we just drove in, or what was it? Dove in head first, both of us. So like, it's so many scenes in the movie where it's like the camera is showing me do something and there's nobody else in the room. It's just me because we don't
Mm.
have time to assemble a crew for every shot. Or it'll be stuff where Erica's like, there's a scene where I'm driving and she was like backseat holding the camera
Oh,
like this.
wow.
So like we were like,
Y'all were all learning together.
yeah, we were in the trenches figuring out our,
Yeah.
with each other. And then we had a couple scenes where we worked with other people as well, like the studio scenes
Yeah.
and stuff with Substance as well, where we're at the Maybell's Burger.
Yeah.
So it was dope working with other people, but also like being with just us trying to figure it out. So yeah, it was kind of a high pressure situation filming it,
Mm.
but it was fun. Like literally, we finished shooting. I want to say maybe the night before the premiere. We finished shooting the
Really?
night before the premiere. I finished editing right before I left the house to go premiere. So like it
Wow.
was super. I wouldn't want to do stuff like that, but we just
Yeah.
were in that situation where we had to like just go super hard. But
Yeah.
it was fun to make, and like the whole creative community that I'm a part of was like involved, or if not the whole, most of the people, or a lot of people were involved, and it was a fun thing to do, but it was not easy. But I'm looking forward to doing more. Like we want to do like
Yeah.
full feature length films. Another thing too is like we don't have like any sort of deal with anybody. We don't have any sort of budget. So like everything was literally no budget. So
Mm.
like it's like guerrilla style filmmaking. Like we just pull up to the location you deal with whatever's there. If you're in a certain neighborhood, you might not know what's going on in that neighborhood. You're
Yeah.
dealing with the people there.
Yeah.
Like we got told, I got told I need to check in, all types of stuff. Like it
Wow.
was crazy, but it was very, intense and very real. And there was no budget, so there was not like there's nothing to lean on.
Yeah.
So you're trying to lean on your eye and what you think looks dope and what you think people could be interested in.
Yeah.
Just go with that.
And it's really all, like you said, a learning process. Like how you
Yeah.
said y'all were all in the trenches together.
Yeah.
And I think that really builds
For
character.
sure. For sure.
Like really having to make nothing into something.
Yeah.
Just working with whatever it is that you have. And I feel as if that can also steer people away from actually pursuing things that they want to pursue.
For sure.
But instead, no, y'all kept it going, which I think is really amazing.
But that's like, even though I didn't love having to know that I was going to premiere it really quickly and it wasn't done, when you say like, you basically you have to follow through on it because you've already announced it.
Yeah.
And like people looking forward to it and it's all this stuff. So it's like you don't have any option but to follow through.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that was important because I feel like that's one of my best skills is the follow through.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm able to think of the idea and we just go do, like we dropped a music video this week and like I recorded the song and then Erica showed up to my house and we went out to the location, we shot the video and I edited the video that night and it was out the next morning.
Wow.
And it was like, that's just, but I feel like that follow through is like my thing. Like,
yeah,
if there's nothing else I can do, I can get it done. And that's what I'm proud of.
And I feel like even your character in the film showed that perseverance as well.
Word, yeah.
Just pursuing, like, even though he had a lot of setbacks, he was still going after the music because the music was always going to be there, even when he got finessed out of his money by someone that he was close to, he was still, pushing through.
Yeah.
So was that character really truly based off of you, or was it just something that was just another character? You know what I mean?
It was kind of based off me. I feel like some of the instincts of the character were based on my real instincts.
Okay.
But I feel like it's like sounds like a brag, but like I think I'm not as easily discouraged as my character is. Like my character needed like the pep talks, which is important though because like that's super real, and especially because Erica is like she's my girlfriend in real life, and I love her, and she's playing my girlfriend in the movie.
Yeah,
I feel like those are my favorite scenes. Those are most people's favorite scenes because it's just the realest. Like because nobody in the film is an actor, so like it's like a real boyfriend and girlfriend just talking to each other, giving encouraging words.
Being real.
So it was important, but like I feel like when it comes to music and like trying to make the art, I have a natural thing in me where it's hard for me to feel discouraged. Like even if things don't get the results I want or whatever, it's like my natural thing is just to be like, all right, so this is what I'm going to do anyways, but the character is pretty close to me though, like a lot of the same interests and a lot of similar things though, for sure.
And like that's a smart, innovative way to do an album rollout. I feel like even just doing a film for an album rollout, I think is really cool. I mean, music videos are really nice as well, but I don't know, just something about it having a film. I think it puts everything into perspective. At least, it shows the grit, and also just it really explains the story. Like you talked about again, putting a face to the creation. I think that really showed that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And like, I grew up on like, one of my favorite artists is like Donald Glover, and because the internet, he had like the screenplay that came with it, and then he had like scenes from the movie. And like I love that. Like he had great music videos as well, but like because I love when I have an album comes out and I really like the album and I can go watch the music videos for the album, and I can watch like the interview, and then I can watch if they have a short film, watch that. Like I just want to give people a lot of stuff. Like if you like the album, there's more to chew on beyond that. So like I think that's important.
Experience.
Experiences. I want to like build the world out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was important to me. A lot of people I look up to do that. Yeah.
So who are those people exactly that you look up to, and how would you say they influenced your film? Like what did you take from their creations, and then how did you put that into Somewhere in Ohio, the film?
So Donald Glover, because the internet, that's why I've been wearing the same outfit for a year straight. It's because he did it.
Yeah.
So I definitely got that from him. A lot of like the Tyler rollouts, like the Igor rollout, the Flower Boy rollout, like a lot of stuff he
Mhm.
did inspired me in general with how I wanted to like portray my stuff to the world. When it came to the actual short film, I realized I was kind of less inspired by like musicians and stuff. I was more inspired by like actual movies, like not Dogma, but Clerks by
Mm.
Kevin Smith,
Okay.
because that was a movie that he made. Actually, like every time you see like me and Substance, our characters standing outside of the place, that's like a reference to Clerks,
Oh wow, I
like
love
Jay and
that.
Silent Bob.
Yeah.
So like yeah, Clerks was a big inspiration. And that was a film that he made where like he didn't have a ton of money, he didn't have a ton of resources. Like it's shot on black and white because that was the cheapest film they could use.
Yeah.
So like that energy was super important, and Friday was a super important element too.
Yeah.
And even like the story is kind of like the same idea of like a character like doesn't have the money, they need to go get the money. It's like so it's that sort of thing. Friday and Clerks were like the two biggest ones,
Yeah.
and like Judd Apatow movies were super big for me. But there's a lot of movies that inspired the film, and then like a lot of music that inspired the album.
And you said that you've written and directed before.
Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know, like, what other films have you created outside of Somewhere in Ohio?
So I wrote a few different short. I've actually written like some feature films as well,
Wow.
that just never came out, and some other
Yeah.
short films that never came out. Like doing a short film for an album was kind of this is the third time I've done it, but it was the first time I directed, and this is the first
Mm.
time it was narrative based. So like for my first couple albums before this, the short films were just like collections of music videos that all tell a story when put together,
Yeah.
but it would be directed by other people and stuff like that. But this is my first time really like directing a narrative thing where we have characters and we're talking, and it was important for me for this because I feel like maybe it's not a cop out in general, but for me, it would have felt like a cop out if my character just starts rapping to the camera. It's like a music video, but it's like
Yeah.
I do music videos and I've done a lot of that. So let me push
Yeah.
myself because I'm not an actor, like I said. So let me push myself and try to act and convey a story. You know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, it's not my first time like writing a screenplay, short or long form. But it was my first time directing a short film for
Mhm.
sure. But like I direct all my music videos, so I was directing a bunch of videos. So that definitely helped me. I feel like even though it was my first time as a cinematographer, if we had never written or directed anything, it would have been super difficult to make it, like a million times worse.
Yeah.
But because I at least have the experience of like seeing something, visualizing the shot, understanding what the shot needs to be, and like where people need to be blocking and all different type of stuff, that made it much easier coming from music videos. And I feel like going back into music videos, having done something narrative based, is kind of inspiring me. Like, okay, really want to tell stories.
Yeah.
Like we have, like I want to shoot more music videos for the album, but like now it's like, well, we did a short film, so the next videos you got to really tell a story with them. You can't just be some cool disjointed shots. So
Yeah.
like everything is like pushing the next thing. I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know sometimes like things are just better off where they're at, but would you ever think of doing like a part 2
Just
of Somewhere in Ohio?
well, what's funny is like, so it's kind of a trilogy. Anywhere is like the phase one,
Mm.
Summer Now is the phase two,
Okay.
and I have ideas for the next phase.
Oh
So it will be like
wow.
another thing that's in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually going to lead to my next question. I was going to say, where do you imagine Somewhere in Ohio being maybe like 5 years from now? Like what is that going to look like? Cuz as we said, you're building an experience right now.
Yeah.
So, what is that experience going to look like?
I think, I hope that 5 years from now, this album is looked at as like a classic. You know, that's what I
Yeah.
really hope for. And I feel like I hope for it to have a really big impact in the future. And like people feel like, I mean, I would love for it to be the album that like cracks off Cleveland as like a scene. Cause like we've definitely, of course, had artists throughout history that have, popped from Cleveland, and artists who have gotten signed and different, things have had big songs even in recent years. But I love for this to be the project that makes people look at the city as opposed to just an artist from the city.
Mhm.
So that's what I hope to happen, as time goes on. And like I hope that as I continue to make more stuff within this world, like it just opens it up even more and creates more opportunity for that. Because like I said before, like a lot of artists, and I understand why, you put something out, you move on to the next thing, because as an artist, you're creative, you're thinking about always the next thing.
Yeah.
But I really am not thinking about like abandoning what I'm doing ever. Like I
Mm.
really like this album. It really means a lot to me. I really hope that people look at it as a classic. And some people have said like this will go down as that, and I hope they're right, because like I really put everything into it. I really feel like I put everything that I had taste wise, creative wise, and the thought process. I just feel like I gave my all to it, and I hope for it to age well, and I hope for it to really impact over time.
Yeah, and I definitely think it will.
Thank you.
Like I said, I really think that you are creating music that is meant to be felt. You know, you're
Yeah,
creating music that you really can't escape from.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
yeah, I'm really excited to see everything. Just everything that you've
Right.
already been doing is great, but just knowing that you already are, continuing to do that and then you're planning out the next phase of this. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's really exciting to see, to
Thank you.
watch. Yeah, just being able to watch it. I'm like, this is gonna be something. It's nice to just see where you are now. And I can only imagine, you know, 5 years from now, 5, 10 years from now. So Club Ultraviolet. So can you explain a little bit more about what that is?
So Club Ultraviolet is something that me and Erica, my manager Andrea, we created some years back. Where the idea was like we wanted to create something that felt like a fun, almost like a club for people that don't go to clubs. So it's
Real,
like
yeah.
it's dope music, it's dope DJs, and it's like a environment of super creative, cool people all around each other,
Yeah.
enjoying stuff together, meeting people. Like some of my favorite moments that we've had are like after all the music is done and nobody's on stage, and it's just people hanging out that have maybe wanted to meet each other, never did meet each other, or
Yeah.
maybe didn't even know about each other and just meet each other. Like, oh yeah, you're cool. Like seeing friendships be created and stuff like that. Like um, so we do like events like a few times a year, and I hope to continue to build that as well. But it's something that we've done like in Cleveland for since 2021.
Wow, I
So
love that.
yeah,
Is this something that's more so for underground artists?
it's been for underground artists so far, just by like the nature of where we're at. I feel like, but I feel
Yeah.
like as we grow, like the platform will grow as well. Because like
Yeah.
even like because speaking of platform, like even outside of music, we've done like interviews, merch, and different stuff
Oh
like that.
wow.
And like we hope to like expand into all these different sort of things because it's really just like an outlet to be creative outside of me making my own music.
Mm.
It's like for us to put our minds together and do stuff and highlight other artists and put other
Yeah.
artists on the platform. Like it's not the Will Cherry show. Like even though I've been on like I guess probably every show we've done, I haven't always headlined. Like it's not really about me. It's about just the environment that we can create.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just building that community that,
exactly.
especially amongst other creatives as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something because I remember when someone had told me that people here are very clicky,
Mm.
especially amongst other creatives. But I'm not gonna lie, I have not gotten that since I've been here. I feel
Yeah.
as if everyone here is willing to give a hand,
Yeah.
willing to really help you. If I don't know this, I know somebody who does, or they know,
For
or I know
sure.
somebody who knows somebody that does.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And I think that just shows that, that's really important just to show that you're not in this alone. And it's not really about who's better than, it's not
For
about
sure.
competition. It's not about making it just a one man show either. It's about actually uplifting people and like getting people to connect to show you who's all around that you might not know.
Absolutely. And like the album's kind of like that too. Like I feel like I naturally try to create stuff where maybe because I'm like not because I'm like sort of an introvert,
Yeah.
and even though being an artist is like kind of anti-introvert in itself, but I think maybe I work you know in tandem with my introvertness. I don't know what the phrase would be, but
Yeah.
introversy maybe. But my introvert, you know, aspect of myself, it falls in line with the fact that I try to make stuff to highlight other people.
Yeah.
Because like I just naturally am not always trying to be in front of stuff, and like I'll see other people that are super dope. Like to me, Cleveland has one of the dopest, like got to be top 5 dopest creative scenes in
I
music.
agree.
Like I feel like we have artists that are just absolutely unbelievably talented,
Yeah.
and like the people here know, and some people outside of here know. But this is just another way to potentially show people because it'll be 4 or 5 artists that are just from this city
Yeah.
most of the time, and of course over time I think it'll evolve. But that's what it's been so far, and like I feel like as things grow, you see people going to do other stuff. You can be proud of the fact that they did Club Ultraviolet and that you have that connection with them and that you
Yeah.
had that moment with them.
And I think that's really necessary. So I want to know, when is the next function for Club Ultraviolet?
I don't know yet, but we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure it out because we're always trying to do something that like makes sense. So we're trying to figure it out for sure. Because
Yeah.
like I don't know. To me, it's one of my, not just because I'm involved in it, but it's like one of my favorite things. Like some of my favorite lineups and stuff. So I hope to do more soon, very soon.
Yeah. And what kind of events did you guys used to do in the past? Like, what are some examples?
It's mainly been like rap based,
Rap
rap
based.
and like some R&B. And we actually did like our first show in general. The first show I ever put on, and Andrea was involved as well, 2017.
Oh
That was
wow.
way before Club Ultraviolet, but that was just doing stuff.
Yeah.
In my hometown of Elyria, we brought out Tay Miles, we brought out Chelsea Pastel to the area.
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
we've been doing it since then, but from then till now, like we had like a bunch of different people. We had Freshie, we had Cuda Juice, Peach Curls,
Yeah.
Rico Blue, Cassius G, Trav Hen,
Okay.
Wes Will. Who's there?
No, I would love to see some of those people perform
Oh,
because I
for
know
sure.
that they probably don't get to do it as often. So having that space to see these people perform probably every once in a blue moon, I would love to see. I would love that.
For sure. And
Yeah.
that's what's fun is because, like, I know certain artists, like, just don't perform as much because they might have feel like they've been around so long, they feel like they've done every venue, they've done every
Mm.
type of show. So that's why it's fun is because it's a challenge for us. And it's like just the fun thing for us to create something that feels
Yeah.
different to make them be like, you know what, I'd like to do that show,
Mhm.
even though they might not want to do anybody else's show.
Yeah.
And that shows you that you're doing something that's like kind of special.
And I think it's also just nice to do something for the pleasure of it. You know,
Yeah.
just doing something just because it's nice and this is something that you love to do instead of having feeling this pressure to like, monetize it or make it
Yeah.
about something more than just having fun with it.
No, that's important, and that, cause that's good to mention. Like all of our shows are super cheap. Like I don't think we've ever done a show that was more than $12 a ticket. Like
Wow, yeah.
sometimes $5 a ticket, sometimes
Yeah.
free. We've done free events as well. Like so, I think it all boils down to trying to create a good environment and trying to bring creative people together and people who just love art and love music and love culture together, as opposed to trying to like tax people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of where people, as we talked earlier about how, some people said that local events don't really have as much of a turnout as they used to. Um, just because, I think pandemic things and then
yeah,
also like the economy in a
for sure.
way.
Yeah,
But also maybe just not knowing about these events,
yeah,
not really knowing if there's a place for them. But I feel like there's always a place for someone, And I think
exactly.
Club Ultraviolet could help people kind of find their place, kind of find their fitting in that. Because it
Yeah,
could be hard, especially when you're just new to the scene
for sure.
and you're still trying to figure out some things about yourself. Like just having people around you to help you with that, I think is important.
Yeah, it's meant to be the place for people who don't know where their place is, for sure.
Mm,
And like, yeah, that's why like we try to put on people that are like a little bit different or maybe not, and put on different types of artists together and like
yeah.
and make it cheap and like all these different things are about trying to create the perfect environment for somebody to discover something and to feel like they're at home.
So, who are your top 5 Ohioan music legends?
Top 5 Ohio music legends. Kid Cudi is one of them. Um, and Isley Brothers for sure.
That's one of my favorite bands. I love
Absolutely
them.
the goats. Um, Cuddy, Isley Brothers. I'm trying to think like personally for me too when it comes to the music. One of the legends like L.A. Reid is like one of the legends for
Mm,
sure. Um, Also, I'd say Anita Baker is fire.
that's my girl.
Yeah, the absolute fire. And I'd say me. Okay, like I feel like
Can't be mad at
I
that.
one of my favorite like Quentin Tarantino quotes is like he's my favorite director and one of his things is like you should make the movie that you want to see. And I feel like that's what I've been doing. Like I'm making the albums that I want to hear. Like whenever I think of like, man, I wish an artist would do this, I go do it myself.
Yeah.
So like just naturally I feel like I'm one of my favorite artists because I'm doing my favorite things. And that's how I know I'm doing something that's like real to me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you're really paving a way, honestly.
thank
You're
you.
paving your own way, but I also feel like you're paving a way for other artists as well.
That's fire. That's very fire. I haven't heard that before. That's fire.